Welcome to Agent From Within, the podcast that helps agents get out of their own way, listens to regular agent stories, not just all the top producers. Yes, we'll have top producers, but it's also a fully designed coaching system built here for you to get coaching, be inspired, be connected, but most of all, get yourself out of your own way. There's a whole lot more than just making a ton of money as an agent. If you don't know how to build a business to serve your life, you're gonna run around with your chasing your tail, feast and famine. Guess what, guys? Let's build a business with purpose. Agent From Within is here to serve. Cheers. Koukun, how's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. It's good. I've been rocking and rolling all day. First time ever trying this. It's not that bad. I like it.
I think you're in the zone. This is what you're made to do, man.
Yeah, man. I think outsource everything else other than energy. Well, I still got lots of energy. Am I too much for you right now? Slow her down. I could slow her down a little bit for you there. Let's just slow her down. Koukun, why don't you introduce yourself? Let's get that out of the way. Who you are, how long you've been in business, a little bit about yourself. Let's go. We've got some watchers. We've got some people going. I'm going to see comments wise. Ryan Dragon, the Lee, exciting. He's coming up on tap next. And I saw comments. So guys, feel free to comment. Just one quick thing for people that haven't been following the all day live stream. We've just started a phase 2 because of our recording has to be reset after 4 hours. So here's the thing. We have a lot of real estate conversations out there about top agents, how to be a top producer, books written on being number one, and how to learn from the top leaders of the industry. But I find that it creates such a subtle comparison with 80% of other the agents where they almost feel a little bit more insecure. Like, what am I doing wrong? I'm not saying top agents wrong. I have no problem with that. But the problem is that we don't really actually have any other conversations happening, which creates maybe a very narrow view of real estate. And I think there's a lot to do with real estate. So we've come up with the 3 themes for this marathon. And the next marathon is next week, Thursday, same thing. It's burnout, the cost of burnout, the new agent struggles, and also being busy without systems. These are huge things that we're tackling in my world. And I think the conversation, just trying to have the conversation. So that's everyone in this show has been vetted. Someone obviously Koukun, someone I know. We're going to get into this in a second. But that's the mission, is that we want to build a life paid for by real estate. We don't want real estate to just take over our life. That's the mission here. So anyways, Koukun, I am so excited. Why don't you introduce yourself, man?
Yeah, so my name is Koukun Unosawa. I live in St. Catharines, Ontario. I've been an agent for 3 years now. Most of my business is investment focused. So I help investors buy and sell rental properties. I started my journey as an investor myself about 7 years ago, buying my first rental property. And then 2 years later, got into the business of being a real estate agent. And I thought there would be some parallels. There were, but it was a whole new world, right? Like, this is a business on its own that I had to learn, and definitely coming into your world, getting your coaching has really allowed me to, really level up the pace in which I was moving forward, just because I could learn from you versus learn from my own mistakes. I definitely made my own mistakes along the way, but it was far faster, and I got to just crush different there's so much in there.
Koukun, let's do this. Let's set it up where you've been in the industry for 3 years, right? So let's go a little bit to the journey. You were a real estate investor. You did some really great things as an investor. This is where the door was to get into the business, and you got into investment. How old were you when you started buying investment properties?
So I was the first property I was 17. And
Crazy.
We closed on the property like a month after my 18th birthday. So
you got 2 properties before you're legal. So that's cool.
One.
So pretty amazing. So that was the doorway in. And so we're going to get back to a little, there's so much, dude. I know you so well and so much, but I want to kind of at least set it up so people can understand who you are. We probably lost a couple people with the sound thing, but that's okay. This is going to be turned into a show as well and edited. Tell me this. So you went from real estate, you're doing investing, and you just naturally thought I'll become a real estate investor because then you don't have to pay a real estate agent. Is that what you're thinking?
It was more that I actually felt I received a lot of value from the agent I was working with. And I was like, this is something I could see myself doing. Also, my story, I didn't go to university. So I was also looking in my own mind, like what career path I could get started in that didn't have, in terms of career paths, I didn't go to university. So I was looking at, okay, what career path can I follow that I would feel, that I felt I could provide value, I could make a good income, and I could really do something. And I felt the barrier to entry as a real estate agent was much lower. It's a much, I would say, harder business because of that to a certain degree. It's like you need to figure out the next step after getting the license. The license itself is not anything, right? It's like you just need to get it.
Go get it, yeah.
But because of that, I felt I could get started versus other careers I was looking at. Okay, you need a degree, you need whatever certifications, and I was like, yeah, that didn't work for me. And I did receive a lot of value from the agent I was working with. So in my mind, I was looking at it as, I could do this.
And to be clear, the agent you're working with was a very specific team who very much focused on strictly investors, right? So it wasn't just any agent. It was someone that was really niche down, right?
Yeah. So her focus was helping investors, and the reason I felt a lot of value is literally I had my entire family prior to us buying that first rental property, and we bought it as a family. So even though I say it's my rental, it's kind of like a partnership we created.
Cool. Yeah.
None of us had ever owned a property prior to that. So like my whole family, literally no one had experience.
Wow.
And this lady literally showed us from start to finish what was involved in purchasing a home, where to go to find a property where the numbers make sense, how to find a tenant, and literally specifically the care she showed after the sale was really where I was blown away, right? Because in my mind,
you don't hear this too much.
Yeah. I had that underlying fear of like, is she in it for the transaction? Am I going to hear from her afterwards? Because I literally didn't know what to do. But then she was the complete opposite, right? And then I was like, oh, wait a second. If I could do this, if I could really take care of people, right, so that I could make money by helping them buy and sell investments, but really take care of them after the fact, like that would be fulfilling. That would be something that I would feel good about doing as the work I did, right? And
And so did you go to that brokerage and sign up to that same brokerage? Yeah. Okay. So now you're in this brokerage. Now you jump into the game. So I think about the new agent struggles. Let's hit that first. So you go into the game and joining a team. And this team was a little bit different though, right? Like it was very well-oiled machine. They know what they're doing. They had a lead gen system to fill rooms with investors, and then they would curate from their online marketing, fill a room, educate them, and then pass them to you in a sense, right? To an agent. Is that how their system worked?
They had that system, but I wasn't a part of the team that received the clients. I was just part of the brokerage. So I ran my transactions through them. So I got a lot of value from learning how they ran their systems. And to a certain degree, I modeled my own to follow theirs to a certain degree. But when I got started, so literally I got started in October of 2017. And I'll tell you this, the day I quit my previous job, I had 0 clients of my own. I didn't have a single person lined up that I knew was going to work with me to buy or sell, even investors. Like I didn't have a single one lined up ready to go. It was like that pure, like prior to that, I was a part-time agent helping other agents doing just their showings for them. So they'd pay me $50. I'd show their client the home, and sort of it helped me get the confidence of, okay, I know what to say, I know how to do the work. It's still their clients, right? Those are not my clients. So I need to figure out getting started. So I felt, I had enough experience just in terms of what to say, but this full-time job is not giving me enough space or fire to like really get started. And for me, that was the best thing I ever did, because when I cut the job, I cut the salary, then it's like, okay, I need to figure this out. I need to take massive action to get going. And to a certain degree, one of the things that really helped me out right at that beginning phase was that one of the agents I was helping to do showings literally was at the stage where he wanted out. He didn't want to keep working as an investor-focused agent. So he had a list of investor clients, and he literally told me, listen, I had already helped him up to that point. I had built up his confidence that I could do a good job. And he said, okay, listen, my clients, I'll just start sending them over to you. We'll do a 50-50. So kind of like a team arrangement, except that
I call that a synergy partner. I call it a synergy partner.
Exactly. So
where it's not team, but you just pass leads. Yeah.
Exactly. That was great because I could create some income, right? While getting those clients. And at the same time, I could build up my own client base. And you know this, right? Like creating a client base from scratch is the hardest part of this business, I would say, right? Like it's literally like once you have momentum, it just goes. But that first push is it's so hard, right? So
it's a misconception, right? Like that's what I'm trying to say is that you see these other agents, sold another one. They could be literally posting the same sold 4 times, which I know happens because I know that happens. And so and the problem is the image is more important than reality a lot of times. And what happens is I'm not judging everybody. I'm not judging. I'm saying though the misconception is built from only seeing successes. And no one's telling us struggles. No one's saying like it's very rare to see a post about a struggle. And so you look online, you see all these agents like, I'm going to make money too. This is amazing. All I got to do is like 10 deals and I'm loaded. And you just have these great thoughts like running numbers. And you're like, this is amazing. Then you become an agent and you're like, uh-oh. And there's a misconception. And it's almost like even society, because of the image building, I think society judges agents and they don't know that $120,000 a year is only 70. Yeah. Like they don't understand that there's 30% of your money goes to tax and then maybe another 20 to 40% goes to marketing, and you get to live off what's left. And we still want to drive top end cars and all these things. And that the problem is I think we need to stop building this image because it like I get it. I get building brand, but I think it could be hurting the overall image of the industry. And so the new agents coming in, I run into it all the time. I go, how many deals want to do? Yeah, I'd like to do about 30 to 50 this year. I'm like, oh, cool. What do you got going on? Nothing. Like complete disconnect on reality of what it is. It takes 90 days just to even start. And that's at 100 miles an hour. Most agents are coming in and they're like, yeah, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do some social media and all this. I'm like, what if you talk to 300 people? 400 people at that's how you start in the business is you go and talk to 300 to 400 people, however that is, open houses, door knocking, whatever it is, but that's not taught. And then maybe they'll do 20 people and they're like, oh, I'm talking to tons of people. I'm like, you're not even close to what it's going to take to start. This is the message I want to put out there. That's why we're doing these kind of conversations, because it's like the reality of starting is not what everyone's selling.
Yeah, no, it's hard because like even for me, even with the advantage I had of that synergy partnership, it was still exactly the same sort of peaks and valleys, right? I would have a few good months, money would be in the bank, and then I'd have a few months of no pay, right? And it was this cycle that continued for the first little bit. And it's like now through our coaching, through building a business, putting systems in place, now I got to the point where it's like, I still have the highs and the lows, but the lows are still enough to meet our expenses, and the highs are just great, right? So it's like we still experience that, but we've put some more infrastructure in place, and the business has just progressed. But definitely, in that first year, it's so easy to judge yourself, to think that you should be doing more, when like no one ever talks about the fact that is the hardest part of this business, right? Like most experienced agents would never want to go back and start again from scratch, right? They're like, they've paid their dues, they don't want to go back there, right? And you and I both know agents that have had to, for whatever reason, stop and restart. And
that's tough. So Koukun, let's give a quick picture now. We've talked about the beginning. Can you tell me where you're at today? Now, how long have you been an agent? 3 years. And where are you at today from when you started to now? Like, where are you at? And let's talk about how you got there. So where are you at?
So right now in my business, I have a team member. I have an assistant, and I have a video maker. So he's a part-time assistant
guy. Yeah.
He helps me make videos, and that's a part of my business I've developed more out of I like it, right? I like to make videos. I have a YouTube channel, so it's a piece of my business I get to enjoy. It serves a function, but it's something that I enjoy, and that's where we choose to put some of our marketing dollars, right? In terms of where our business is at, I don't know, you want numbers, deals?
Yeah.
Like what's...
Let's just look at it. Like it's hard to measure without, if you're okay to share it. Like are you having a good year?
Yeah. So this year, again, every year has been progressively better. This year, we've closed. So my team member joined on just a couple of months ago, but between the two of us, since he's joined and my production since the beginning of the year, we're at around 35 to somewhere in the 35 to 37 deals range. We've made about 200, and my portion is around 260,000. We just calculated our business expenses were around 40,000 this year. So we had $40,000 of expenses without paying my assistant. So my assistant is my wife, and she's fully in the business. So even without that, I'm paying 40,000 in expenses.
And you would have only paid 20 for that anyways for what she does. Like maybe less. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the new year, that's the plan. So we're going to spend around 20,000 to hire a part-time assistant. But yeah, that's a bit of a picture.
And so now let's talk about this one. Like, let's talk about a little bit of our origin story, just because we have one. So I go do this cross Canada tour, and I remember you completely. You're the tallest guy in the friggin' room. You're quiet. And I remember you standing there when I was doing the event. I think we're talking about introvert, extrovert at the time, personality stuff. And and then you stayed connected. And so let's talk our origin story, because I remember I got some funny points that I like to make.
Yeah. So I mean that during the cross Canada tour, the conference, right, in Toronto was it was mind blowing, right? I was hearing all these things for the first time, right? All of what you shared, and it really piqued my interest. It was different, right? It wasn't sort of the same old that I've been hearing all over the place, and I could really see that you were really thoughtful in the way that you went about your business. It wasn't just let's do extra activities. It's let's focus on these thoughtful touches, on these activities that can really change the relationship, and like focus on that. But at the same time, in the beginning when we met, definitely my focus was just fully on, okay, how do I make more money? How do I grow this business?
Yeah.
So I signed up at that time. You had a agent from within the
academy.
The academy. So we did that for the first 6 months, and then around that time, you invited me to the inner circle for the coaching. And at that point, I had got so much value from that academy that I was like, it's a no-brainer. Let's go for it. So started that June of 2018, June or July of 2018. And then the first year or the first couple of months, as soon as we started coaching, was like, okay, you need to hire an assistant. So that was the first step in terms of on the business side, what I had to do. And it was painful, right? I went through 4 assistants.
Let's talk about this. So I remember when I dealt with you, and we're talking about we need to get you an assistant. You're really in your head a lot. You had a lot of like, it's almost like slow motion to execution because you'd be so stuck in your head on things, right? But I knew you had tons of potential. Like it's a skill set to be somewhat analytical if you can kind of mix it with a bit of fluidity. And so I remember you're like, yeah, I'm going to hire an assistant. But then you systemized the hire so much. And I was like, how you interviewed, you took what I did and 10x the organizational side of it. And you started getting an assistant. And then what happened was they quit. Like, so what was the journey with hiring an assistant? You had to, you went through 4.
Definitely a lot of personal growth that was involved in that process, because I had to realize that when 4 people quit on me, it's not them, it's me, right? It could be some circumstances of them, but it's not like it was me. I had to figure out like, okay, so if that's the case, how do I move forward? Like what is it about me that's causing this situation? And now looking back after it, a big part of it was the control.
What were you going to say? Sorry, I interrupted you. I'd love you said it was control.
Yeah, so it's like being a control freak, or just like having an intensity. Like I think part of it comes from wanting a good result. I think I'm very driven to create a good outcome, but it's almost too much. right? It serves its purpose in the activities that really need that, but it doesn't serve me in day-to-day activities, right? Like I had a very like clear, precise way to do everything, which was unrealistic to expect anyone to just do it that exact same way. They have to do it well, but it doesn't have to be done my way. And it took a while to get to understand.
I remember coaching and like you got an assistant. I'm like, nice work, nice way to take action. Yeah, the assistant quit. She just had some things going on and it didn't fit. Okay, cool. Hire again. This is how you learn. This is how you learn. Get hired again. Yeah, I got some things going on. And I'm like, they're quitting for weird reasons and they're all legit. And I'm like, uh-oh, Koukun, we got to turn the light on you. And I'm like, what are you doing? And it's like you systemized it so much that you wanted them to do what you did, and that's not real. They have to do their own way. And I think that was a massive shift I saw. And you would execute, but yeah, like it was an inner game. Like you did everything right. You followed the book. You executed well, even better than I did. But you had the results were different, and that was the human side. That's why from within matters. So that's a powerful story. And now now let's talk about this. When you first hired me to coach with you, you're like, so Ben, I'm kind of more into the systems things. The personal growth's okay, but I'm more into like building a business. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, wonder how this is going to go. And, but obviously you were chosen and you were on the inner side and stuff. So tell me what's happened. What is that still how you think?
No, absolutely. At this point, I feel the systems are amazing, but it's just the icing on the cake, right? It's the practical, get it done, like it'll serve the business, but the inner growth is, it's far more valuable, both personally as well as in business, which is the craziest part, right?
That's the cool part.
Like, because since coaching with you, the personal breakthroughs I've had are so numerous in terms of even my relationships with my wife, with my father is a big one for me. Even the relationship with myself, right? The same way that I was setting these crazy expectations on these assistants to do it a certain way, I was doing that to myself as well. And this was just who I thought I was, and I thought that's normal. But I had to get to the point where I had to realize, like, wait a second, you're doing a good job. You don't have to put so much insane pressure on yourself that you can never feel happy about what you're doing, right? Like there's so many layers to that, because I had these massive goals, right? Like I want to be top of the world. I didn't even want to be the number one agent. That wasn't even the goal. I was like, that's not big enough. I wanted to be beyond that. Like that's where my head was, right?
Yeah.
And which is great, like have those goals, but I had to realize at some point it's like we have this conversation multiple times. It's like, what actually matters? Like what matters to your life now? And then let's make it easier to just get that thing that matters versus making this massive goal, making it so hard to get there. And then at the end of the day, it's something that I don't really even care about, right? Because
I remember seeing your kind of the all that work we put you through to just kind of see where you're at and look at your business and stuff. And I saw your goals, and I'm just like it's 100% failure. Like it's like and it's shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars. At least you hit the moon. I get that, but when are you going to experience a win? When are you going to enjoy life? Like it was almost like the goals were something you hid behind. Like it was almost like an expectation. It's almost like, I don't know what it was. And then later on, like you had some massive breakthroughs on some of our retreats, and it just to understand like why were those goals so massive? And I see it all the time, right? Whenever new guys come through my programs and stuff, it's like there's these massive goals, and I'm just like I'm gonna have 50 deals in 90 months. Like, why? I don't like. Do you get a badge for the goal? Like, it's almost like praised. It's almost praised. Like, good job, nice, big thinker. I'm like, what about one person blow their minds, keep them for the rest of your life, take the money and build a life. Like, just not even there. And so, yeah, I remember, man, I remember the massive goals. And were they serving you at all?
There's a piece of me that still thinks it has helped.
Yeah.
But I don't know what was on the other side of this. Like, how much could I have accomplished if I didn't put so much pressure on myself and just like let myself organically move forward, right?
Wow, such a good point, man. And what's crazy is, I think I know where you're at. You're being humble. You're not even saying like you're making like in the last month, you probably made what, $40,000 or $50,000 or something crazy.
Yeah, no,
like we're talking.
crazy.
And what's so crazy? This is the insanity, and this is what I'm on a mission for, dude. And you're joining the mission. You're coaching alongside me in my 12-week reboot program because you connected the dots. It's like you got the big goals, but not by chasing the big goal. You're getting in a month to make what people make in a year. Like just this last month, we're not talking seen on TV results. We're saying this is becoming very normal in our community. And it's not that we're chasing the cash. It never, ever is. And what it is build a life. Now that we get clear about the life that we want, or at least clearer, now we need to build a business so we can do that life. Then we put in systems because we don't have time to do the life we want. So we put in the systems, which is the business coaching to fund. And then once you got the business coaching in and you have the focus on keeping a client for life, you actually get to the place where you've always dreamed of getting. And then guess what? You actually get to do what you want to do. I remember one time you said, Ben, my dream, like it's one of these big goals. I want to take I want to take 6 months, not just a week. Like I want to take 6 months off a year and travel. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, are you traveling now? Well, no, not really. I'm like, okay, you must have like about 4 or 5 kids and so much. No, just my wife and I. Oh, okay. So why aren't you traveling now? And that was like this shift. It's like, so when we did the retreat, next thing you know, you're like, I'm staying an extra week. And I'm like, why don't you start living today? Instead of saying I'm never going to reach a 6-month goal, start taking a week. Change the goal. The goal's too big. It's keeping you stuck. And I remember you started just going like, I'm enjoying this week. And how was that? How was the week you took with your wife after? Like, it's you're actually living the way you want to live today. We don't got to wait. It just has to be, we just don't need these massive goals. Just start moving toward them. Right. And then you got to celebrate a beautiful retreat and your wife on your own vacation. And it's like, I want to do 6 months and you do nothing until you get it. And then you die never getting it. That's what people are happening. It kills me inside.
And it's funny because after taking that 1-week trip, there was a piece of me that was like, I don't mind going back to work. Like
exactly. See, in 6 months you wouldn't have even liked.
Right? I'm sure that 6-month thing will definitely happen at some point.
Sure.
But I let go of the attachment that if I don't do it now, I'm failing. Right? It's rather that's something that I'll work towards, and I'll align my life at some point to get there. But in the meantime, I'm going to take these short trips. I'm going to enjoy those. I'm going to just enjoy the process of it, right? And even go back to the income thing. One thing I haven't shared is like the prior year. My goal for this year was to make 250,000. That was like my goal.
That was the big goal. That's what I'm saying.
And then I was putting pressure. Finally, then COVID hit in March, and I was like, I almost went back where I was like, listen, how many deals do I have closing? What are my living expenses? Can I survive the rest of this year
without doing anything? Yeah, and you're like, this is pretty sweet.
That's where I went to, and then through the personal growth, through the retreats, I got to this point. Okay, I'm just going to let go of the goals, and then in a funny way, I hit the goal. I exceeded the goal, right? But it's just no longer attached to my happiness. It's just a financial number. It's just a progress of the business, but my happiness is not based on do I hit that goal or not.
That's right.
I could make 100 and still be happy. I could make more and I'll probably still be the same.
That's all because we set the compass though. Because we don't set the plan. Like it's like, I'm going to take this amazing trip. Where are you going? Don't know, but I'm working toward it. That's what I hear when someone tells me their goals. There's like, why are you doing this? Well, you want to travel. You want to go back to Sri Lanka where you're from. There's other things you want in your life. Now we've got a business to serve these goals that are meaningful. You want to you have a kid coming. Like I don't know. Maybe there's something like, and it's like challenge a shit out of your goals because they're probably not even yours, or there's this expectation, or like even buying a rental is not even most people's goals. It's just what you do when you have extra money. It's not even like, man, it's just, I'm on it gets crazy over this because I'm like, you could be living, you could be living and making shit ton of money, but the money doesn't matter anymore. That's the weird part of it.
Even exactly what you mentioned on the rental property things, right? Like when I started my investing, my goal is I need to get to 100 properties, right? Or whatever million net worth goal, right? Like that's how I started. And then I got along the way. It's like, okay, whatever I'm doing is not enough. I need to 10x it, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Now I'm at this point where it's like, if I don't buy another rental property, I'll be okay. My retirement's going to be fine. I don't need to do more. I'll probably do more. Just it's the way I want to invest. But I don't have this pressure of I need to buy a certain number of properties. Otherwise, I'm not doing well enough.
Yeah.
It's like purely an investment. Like
it's a part of your plan for something.
Yeah.
Like this whole belief.
Right? It's going to serve me in the future. It's going to be
like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's actually your plan. There's nothing wrong with anyone's goals. It's just if they're not your goals, you literally might be wasting your life.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day is disappointment, midlife crisis is burnout. And it's like, great. I had 61 properties. So I have the right to speak about this. I've done these things and I'm like more destructively empty at that point in my life than any other time. That was a dark time other than my beginning as a child. But that's why I'm like, why did I do this? 100 was my goal. Then 1,000 was my goal. The buy the Edmonton Oilers was my goal. I was that guy. And I was the most unhappy guy you could ever imagine. I hate some of this big thinking bullshit. It just kills people. Sorry, I'm getting a little excited now. It's because I'm hanging out.
Even to me, there's a piece of me that asks the question, what if I didn't find real estate investing? What if I never became a realtor? What
good question
is out there? What other path could my life have taken for the better? What if there's a piece of magic that I'm not fully experiencing? Right?
So that's what I call, it's not, see, some people might take that as a scarcity, but I know you, and it's an open thought. It's an openness and a curiosity. Yeah. It's not like I don't like my life. Did I miss something? And some people could misunderstand. And it's not. It's I've got a good life. How much better? Maybe there's a different path that would have been even more better. It's a curiosity and an openness, right? So let's go into this advice. Okay. I think you definitely got the right to speak to a few things, the new agent, your systems. And by the way, just because you got a wicked system running, it took you 1.5 years to put some of these systems in that I might told you about for 1.5 years. So let's talk about this. Let's just say the birthday system. We've got so many that we do, right? But the birthday system, so how long did it take? You're like, this is an amazing system. You worked with for almost 2 years. I'm like, do you got your birthday system in? You're like, not yet. I'm like, so why, what is the resistance, or what is the thing we can help people? Like, why do they see something, they believe in it and love it, but it doesn't translate to actual execution? What do you think?
For me, I can clearly see that I overthink things, right? Part of being like this, having this intense desire to have whatever be my standard, or what, in a way, it's perfectionism as well, right? It's like this desire that everything be done my way.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to just like take it, implement it. Like, don't like think about it. Don't just like make a list of your clients, find a provider who can send them a birthday gift, schedule it. Yeah. And then get an assistant to run it. Right. Like it was, I had to, it took me, it took me a long time, which is why actually when in our reboot program, when some of our the members take action within a couple of weeks, and I'm seeing that, I'm like, this is awesome, because it took me 1.5 years.
That's why the power of the group is crazy for that reason. Yeah. So what's cool is that, So this is something that I know well, and it's like now I know you've fully adopted it as your own. Move forward, adjust along the way. This is exactly what I'm doing today. Again, I told our group, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm like, I don't want to just do an interview. I'm going live. I'm going to try it out. And guess what? Never done live before. This could be a disaster. But the thing is, though, as you know now, the data that I get from this day is the missing factor. And that is what you don't get from being perfectionist and being an overthinker. You don't get the data that you need to adjust. And you watch next time, I might have a wicked intro coming in here. Maybe my dead space is a little bit better. Maybe it's a 10 out of 10. And I don't know. Part of it is feedback that I'm going to get. If you don't move forward, you can't actually be perfect. Because if I want to perfect this, I've got to do some runs on it. There's data that I cannot get without sitting here. And I want data fast. That's why I did 5 hours. Because one interview, there's too many variables. The guy might not have been a good interview. Maybe it was a fantastic interview and everyone else wouldn't have. Maybe the questions were great on one. Maybe like a 20-minute or half an hour live, I got 5 hours, and then next Thursday another 5 hours, and I got 10 more hours booked for by the next 60 days. I'll have 20 hours of me sitting here doing this. I think fast track the problem. I believe it so deeply that if you don't move forward, I'm so excited. I will get on the freaking bike and go. I'm okay with the skin knee. I'm okay. Like, who cares? You got to understand the win at the end is we're literally stuck without this. And I think it's something that I wish I could just, even me saying it today, people might be like, oh, that's cool. But I remember it took you a year and a half of this and you had to, it was just a process, right? But once you get it, speed shows up.
Yeah. The power of exactly what you described, it seems simple, but it's fundamentally so powerful, right? The thought process of just doing something before you know that you can do it well or perfectly, but doing it anyways, then shows up in other areas of your life as well. So it's like when I try the birthday system and I just put a rough thing together, all of a sudden I'm also doing the red carpets at closing.
It was the plug that just got released. The flood comes.
Like, one of the things I'm proud of this year is we've got much more consistent at making YouTube videos, which is, like I mentioned, the area that I sort of enjoy. And my video editor is a friend of mine. He's a university student. He just edits my videos for me. It's very affordable. But I told him right from the get-go, our goal is not perfection. We're just going to do this enough times that you will get good at it, and then it will get to a certain standard. And we're just going to pump these videos out as much as possible until we get it right, and we'll just post them. The subtitles will be sometimes wrong, the titles will be wrong, sometimes the edits won't be perfect.
It's not like me now.
and literally now the quality has got to the point that I could never have imagined doing it myself.
Which you like doing. This is what's weird. You liked editing. So we just had Aaron Baines. We have Aaron Baines was on here, and he's starting to truly crush social. And I really hit it hard today with him because I really wanted to, tell him how amazing it was. But the sustainability is my only concern. And so what you did was you dropped the quality of the video and you traded it for sustainability, and that's business, because you can have the most amazing videos edited, right? But then the thing is, if that's on your shoulders and you're busy, you first thing to go is editing.
No, it's the hack, right? Without people to help you, you can't just do everything yourself. And if you do, you won't enjoy it, right? You're not going to be happy doing like hundreds of things. So with editing, so specifically editing was one of the things I struggled with myself. I was never good at it, but I do enjoy filming. I do enjoy the idea of coming up with videos, but I had to outsource first the thing I didn't like. And then I also outsourced the thing I do like. I do like to think of videos, but it got to the point where I told them, listen, just come out, we'll go to a couple of properties, you're going to film me, and you're going to decide which are the best clips that we can make into videos. I'm going to give these.
See, now you let go.
Yeah.
You let go. And that's this is why this from within. From within. I was so insecure about it for so long as a real estate guy, because I would position myself as a real estate coach, but then I would never fit in to the real estate coaching. It was something I was so insecure about, but my results were nuts. Like it was like marriages, relationships, internal game, and lots of money. And it was the consistency. And I'm like, I'm a real estate coach, and it wasn't aligning. And it's because I'm from within. I'm a trendsetter. I'm not fitting in. And I realized this is more important than anything in the world. And I'm so excited that we're gaining some serious momentum as our inner crew, and we're growing and we're building our tribe, because people are starting to connect the dots on the tactical side of real estate is meaningless if the person running it is not in good shape. And so I'm the guy that's going to work with the person. And I just happen to have all the other stuff too. That's, like you said, it's the other stuff that's people are going all in on, and it's not working. 90% of agents are failing in their first year. Like it's a whole broken system where it's just everything. And so I've been learning just to be myself, and be myself is personal growth, human development, business coaching. And by the way, we can probably get your real estate business rocking. It's just complete alignment change as well. And hearing you say these things, it's like, I'm so excited because I've seen it for so long, but the message is coming out clear from a lot of other people now, saying you work on the inner game. It affects it's the 10X. 10X is not more grind. 10X is understanding who you are, find out what you want to do, and build a system to serve that. And then you outsource everything that you don't want to do that drains your energy. And so I'm pretty excited to be able to hear you say that. Obviously, this is just more talking about myself right now, but I just really, really, really love the fact that this is actually growing and that mission is spreading. And I'm really thankful for you and you helping me. You are now being mentored as a coach in my program. And you've done now 3 rounds with me. You're going to have in the new year, we're going to be launching another one in February. But I'm just saying the real estate bootcamp that's what me and you are doing now. And so I'm very proud to have you in there, the way that you process systems and the way that you are getting intuitive, and it's just so cool. So, but so let's go on here. So what, if you were to have something, like when you're like, hey, I'm going to share something, is there something that you're like, and you maybe you've done it already, but I just wanted to say, is there anything that you've got, you're like, I'm now on this show, I would love to say this, challenge something, do something, or share an opinion or advice? Is there anything that just is like, was sitting there going, okay, I'd like to do that?
Let me think.
On the spot, I know.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot there. I think a big one that I'd like to share, simply because of how it's affected me, is be open to consider that you have blind spots, right? That you have areas of your life which you think are 100% clear, certain, and the way it is the way you think it is. Be open that there's like a 1% chance it may not be exactly what you think it is, right? And just let yourself consider that there are other ways to view whatever it is. And it's usually something that's highly emotional, highly triggering, really deep and personal to us. Like for me, like through our retreats, through our coaching, a big part of what I broke through was my relationship with my father, right? And I had this mindset that, he wanted me to go to university, and if I didn't, I almost felt like he would not love me. That was literally how I was feeling. And I had to open up that tiny window of possibility that maybe the way I'm looking at this is not 100% the case. Maybe he does love me. He's expressing it to me in a way that I can't fully accept or understand, but maybe it does exist, right? And and that's specific to me, but I think for each of us, there's areas in our life that we struggle with, and we think that they're 100% clear the way we think it is, and like just that 1% of consider that it may not be exactly the way we think it is.
The blind spots are it's a missing equation, and you're trying to figure out the equation. But if you have a blind spot, you're literally missing the equation. It's like 1 + 1 + what is what? You're like, I don't know. And it is that. And yeah, like I remember when we were in Vegas and you had this massive connection with this dad thing. Is there any way you could say, how has that affected your business? I don't know if you can, but so this realization, this reconciliation with your dad, and understanding how you lived, and understanding that relationship, and maybe he loves you, and that process of realization. I remember that happening. How does that translate, if any way, through your business?
Well, one of the things I feel I was pushing myself so much to make more money every year, because so he told me, if you don't go to university, you won't make 100,000. Or specifically, if you go to university, you'll get $100,000 job. I heard it as, oh, you're telling me I won't make 100,000 if I don't go to university, and what that means is you're telling me I won't be successful, right? That's the way I took it. So then when I made 100,000, and he still was kind of the same, and he kind of said the same things of like, yeah, I still think if you went to university, it would have been a good idea. Like he didn't say the words I wanted to hear, which was, you did a good job, the way you did it, you won, right? Like I wanted that, and I didn't hear that. And I was like, unconsciously in my mind, I was like, oh, I didn't make enough money. So if I make more money, then he will be forced to recognize me.
So that's like a direct fuel that was in your business driving you, and maybe not toward what you wanted, and maybe it cost you just you under pressure versus you not under pressure. Like, you're a different guy.
Yeah. And there was a certain sense of like, why am I working so hard if he doesn't, like, because I was making now more than 100,000, and then
it still was not good enough.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough, and it was both demotivating and pressurizing at the same time. It was like, I need to do more, but it's like, does it even matter? Like, I was in this weird place, right? So resolving that, and even today, I will say, like, I have a good relationship with my father.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. And when we meet and talk for a long time, we usually argue. That's kind of the way it is. And in my mind, I hope for a better conversation, a deeper connection, a deeper understanding. That is still a desire for me, but this pressure I put on myself is gone. I've come to realize my father does love me, regardless of how much money I make, right? And it has always been there, and it is there now, right?
It was almost a blind spot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't need to do anything to get it. It's like, what I want the most, I already have. I don't need to work for it. It's there, right? And
you know what? In my observation with you, and with a lot of other people we've done work with, is that you can't see that until you internally start accepting yourself for where you're at, and your goals got brought down, and all these different things happened. You lighten pressure on yourself, and then it opened the door to think, oh, and then, because I don't believe you would have seen the dad thing without first working on the inner self for yourself. Which is now, if you look at business, it's you pushing too hard. It's you never good enough. You're like, and it's weird because the pressure actually costs you lots of money because your energy is different. Now you're making over $250,000 a year, and it's without pressure. Pressure is the secret. And so that internal game happens. You lower the pressure, you'll see clearer. And then you saw your dad, like, oh, wow, I was seeing my life filter was causing that one to be distorted. And so it's very, very powerful story, Koukun. So we're coming to near the end here. Now, okay, here's a fun one. You've known me for a long time. If you were to ask me a question, see, now this is where I'm like, shit, he knows me. So if you were to ask me a question, what would it be?
Are we pulling the Band-Aid off? We can go.
I don't care. Dude, I'm legit. You give her.
Well, maybe for you, what area of your life right now do you not feel fulfilled that yeah, that's not where that matters to you, and it's not where you want it to be, and you like, yeah,
Yep.
if that question is enough, right? Like, does
Yep.
it bring up? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I've been working on this for a long time. So I've got a lot of areas that are working real well. Marriage is in great shape. Relationship with kids, love it. Work is obviously killer. It's great. There's a lot of things I've been spending time architecting and working on. I think the area is this. I go home at night, and I don't know if it's COVID or what, but it is not always exciting to get home and enjoy my home life in the environment we have. So whether it's so I like, don't get me wrong, love my family, love where I live, but there is that sense of grind right now that I'm going home and there's the kids and I'm just like, it's a little bit of work. So my energy is getting drained in my own home in the last while here. And so it's something I'm spending some time thinking about. So I think that's where I would probably have a struggle, is that because I'm like trying to, COVID has a lot to do with it, because every single kid is at home and hockey's not happening and I'm not playing hockey. So I feel like I don't know if I have to change a pattern where maybe I come home and take the kids out, maybe play games, or I don't know, maybe it's a renovation, but it's definitely something that I'm not like, hey, let's get home. It's like, okay, this job's done, now to the next one. So that's a little bit more, that's my honest truth. But the one thing is yeah, I'll figure it out. That's the nice thing about life. It's like, I will figure that out. Yeah. I'll look at it and I'll talk to my family about it. I'll, like, how can we make this life a little bit better? How can we, get a break? Maybe I got to play more. I'm working on a hockey rink for my kids, but it's something that would be a struggle right now.
Got it. It's interesting we're even having this conversation, right? Because in order to answer that question requires self-awareness. Like, if you ask someone who's not self-aware what you struggle with, it's like the answer they give may not even be the actual answer, right? So
most of the time, yeah. Like, yeah. I say, what's your problem in your business? Need more deals. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll solve that problem, and then it'll be something else. I'll solve that problem, it'll be something else. And you got to get to the root of it, right?
And I face this even in my work, because when I work with investors, the idea is they want to buy investment properties. So then I ask why, right? Like, why do you want to buy? Like, what is at the other end of this rainbow? 10% of the people I work with can really give me a clear answer as not they want to make the most amount of money. No, it's they want to specifically reduce the hours they're working so they can spend more time with the kids, or like something very clear, specific, meaningful to them. That's very rare. Most of the people are, it's like a way to just do it because, right. So,
well, we've got Ryan Lee on deck, our next guest. So I better close her out, Koukun. It's just a privilege to have you on the show. Excited. We'll be packaging this baby up. I think it's a very cool thing that you'll be able to share even with your world. There's really good conversations going on there. And I see Tabitha. She's like, I'm going to sign up for the course. I looked at it the other day. She goes, there's so much knowledge and power with both of you. And so it's a really cool as we kind of combine ourselves together a bit there. And so we'll see Tabitha in our course, I'm sure. So it'll be in February, Tabitha. So book an appointment and we'll talk. But yeah, man, truly appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show.
Awesome, man.
Okay.
Right. Have a good
Cheers, man. See ya.